Hello and welcome to this edition of Medill Newsmakers. I'm your host, Jada McClendon. Small businesses are known to be the hidden gems in any city. They not only influence economic growth, but they also bring communities together in unique ways that larger corporations and chains might not be able to. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are almost 30 million small businesses in the United States. In Chicago's Andersonville neighborhood is known for being made up almost entirely of small businesses. Today, we'll be exploring how small businesses in this neighborhood are making their mark in the city. Right now, I'm on my way to meet Sarah Dinges, Executive Director of Andersonville's Chamber of Commerce, where she's going to show me all things Andersonville.
So right behind me is Strange Cargo, which just opened a few months ago. They were originally located in Wrigleyville for many years and decided to close up shop there and relocate to Andersonville. They have a wide variety of t-shirts and really cool Chicago themed and now some Andersonville themed stuff that you can get there. Next to Strange Cargo is Pastoral, an Appalachian restaurant. So Pastoral had a couple of locations throughout the city, in the Loop, in the French Market. Their original location is in Lakeview East, and they opened this beautiful space in Andersonville, a specialty food, cheese and wine shop, as well as a full-scale, fine dining restaurant that has the best quality of cheese and bread and food. This is just a really good representation of the dynamic mix of businesses that we have, from restaurant to retail to service, just here on like one half block on Clark Street in Andersonville.
Coming up after the break, how one local business is filling the gap when it comes to men's lifestyle in the Andersonville neighborhood. Stay tuned.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Welcome back to this edition of Medill Newsmakers, where we are focusing on what small businesses in Andersonville have to offer to the city of Chicago. If you're wondering where cowboys and astronauts belong in Andersonville, then check this out.
As soon as you walk into Cowboys and Astronauts, you're immediately greeted by none other than the shop's astronaut statue itself. Cowboys and Astronauts is known for selling a variety of men's lifestyle items, from grooming tools to travel supplies to watches and apparel. Co-owners Matthew Basilla and Greg Lanier have only been in the small business scene for 6 months, but they hope their shop will continue to provide customers the fresh take on men's goods that they're looking for.
Joining me on set is one of the owners of Cowboys and Astronauts, Matthew Basilla. Thank you for joining me today, Matthew.
My pleasure.
So just to start off, can you tell me about where the concept of opening a men's lifestyle shop in Andersonville came about?
Actually, to be totally frank, it's been in my belly for years. It just so happens that we live in Andersonville. I love Andersonville, and we thought of no other place besides Andersonville to pop it up and try it and do a little proof of concept. And that's kind of where the phase that we're in right now is proof of concept, and then we'll expand the concept a little bit. But Andersonville is in my heart, and the neighborhood is so amazing. There was no question. But the concept's been in my belly for years. It's something I've always wanted to do.
And since there's not a lot of men's lifestyle shops in that area, what kind of impact are you hoping your store will bring to that community? Because there's a lot of women's boutiques and stuff.
Tons, right?
Right.
And it's shocking. It's shocking. And to be totally frank, that was the other reason that we thought, well, there is no other place, because there's such a hole in the community in Greater Edgewater. And there's one or two other ones, but as you well know, 1 mile, 2 miles away in Chicago could be 20, 25 minutes.
Right.
Whereas where I'm from is Columbus, that's 2 minutes. 2 miles is 2 minutes, but here it's so vast. But we hope that it's had a really positive effect. We've been told that it's had a positive effect. I mean, just in regards to a guy being able to hop into a shop and grab a shirt for a date, or someone being able to pop into the shop for a gift for the guy in their life. Quite honestly, I mean, we say it's a men's lifestyle and supply store, but a good portion of our clientele are women, and not just buying for the guy in their life, but actually for themselves, because we're kind of like turning the tide in regards to like, hey, a candle doesn't always have to smell like fill in the blank. It can smell like this, and maybe that's manly, but a lot of ladies love it, and even buy some of the clothes themselves too.
Okay.
So,
and speaking of guys, your slogan is "Supplies for Modern Man." So how do you guys define that, or what is that? What do you envision that kind of person is for your store?
Thanks for catching on to that. If you notice, we don't say modern men. We thought by saying modern men, you kind of zoom out, and it's referring to all mankind, so to speak, which encompasses all gender identity. So in the supply side, we really look at everything as a supply. The shirt that I'm wearing is a supply. It's protection from the elements. It's something that boosts me when I walk into a room, perhaps, makes me feel good about myself. Toothpaste, it's a supply. We love that aspect. We believe like scented candles that I referenced before are supplies. Coffee table books are supplies to some degree. Supplies that have an aesthetic to them in some way, shape, or form that also enhances life. So we kind of compounded all that into one word, being supplies. So we thought it was like nice and simple.
Right. Okay. And you've been open for 6 months now?
Just over.
Just over
Yeah,
6 months.
yeah.
In those 6 months, any challenges that has kind of come up, being new to that area especially?
To be totally frank, one of the biggest challenges is keeping up. It totally blew us away. The reception from the neighborhood was just crazy. I would leave some nights initially, right around, and Greg can attest to this, in November and December crying because I was so happy. It was crazy. It was like, oh my gosh, that many people came. And it's one of those things that you just never know. It's like throwing a party and actually people do show up. And so that was one of the biggest challenges initially. And then that means inventory and working with some really great vendors that were like, hey, awesome. One of my vendors actually asked she said, no offense, but are you selling these things in the back alley for like 50% off? Because you're doing much better than some of our other big box stores right now. So it was those sorts of conversations of like, no, I'm not selling it. It's actually just, I think, a hole in the in this particular genre of retail in the neighborhood, and people are reacting. The other thing is, and kind of tethered to that, and we're actually right in the middle of it, is we're looking to hire. So it's always been me, and then kind of plus Greg. Greg kept the day job, and he helps like 1 week in a month, and he does the back of house stuff like marketing and PR and so forth. But physically, operationally speaking, I've been the one pretty much doing everything with his hands on occasion. And so now we're spreading our wings and saying, hey, we can grow as a team, which will be totally fun to have other people in there, their energy, their take on it. So that'll be the next fun hurdle to jump over. And actually interviews are this week.
Okay.
So it's kind of fun.
Great. And then the last thing I want to go into is that you guys are still in the process of adding products to your online site. And is that kind of in part to meet that demand of having like an online presence in the retail industry?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but our online site right now is really just it's actually, I think it's our worst go-to-market at the moment. The thing that needs the most help. We actually haven't fully launched our e-commerce site. It's just more or less a landing page with some detail. Dialing back to 11/11 when we actually opened last year, we were going to launch the site at the same time, the e-commerce site, and I said, hey Greg, let's just hold off. It was totally built, all ready to go, and because we were a slim team, not slim, but slim as in 1.5 to 2 of us, I just thought we really care about the customer experience. And the thing about online that we believe is that like your best online experience that you've ever had is your expectation of every single site that you go to. And we didn't want that Amazon Prime sort of appetite to be applied to us before we were ready. So we've held off on that. We've learned a lot. The neighborhood has taught us a lot in regards to like what's working, what's not. So we'll actually distill our current offering and probably launch formally online later this fall.
Okay.
You notice how I was a little hesitant?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's reality. And,
Right.
and I have no problems right now telling folks, hey, we're just not there yet. And But I will say we have a growing number of folks that have an appetite for the online shop, which is fantastic, that are visiting us because Andersonville is such a catch for a lot of out-of-towners. Excuse me, and friends of folks who live in Andersonville. So it's certainly an opportunity that we want to take advantage of, but we're not there yet.
Right. Well, I'm still looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
Me too.
And best of luck to you and Greg with your shop.
Thank you
for joining me
It's been
today.
such a pleasure. Thank you.
Coming up after the break, what consumers are saying about their spending habits when it comes to shopping local. Some answers might surprise you. And how one small business is keeping customers around for the long haul. We'll be right back.
Go you Northwestern. Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
All it takes is one click, and you've saved yourself time from waiting in those long lines at the store. Welcome back to the show. According to a study from the Pew Research Center, 8 in 10 Americans are shopping online, and over half of them are shopping right from their phones. With the convenience of online shopping, it can become challenging for small and local businesses to meet that demand. I talked to shoppers around the Andersonville neighborhood to see how their shopping habits have changed over the past 5 years, and if they find themselves shopping locally more or less.
Online more. And the convenience for me is shopping online, that sometimes I don't have to come out and be in the crowds and everything else.
The local businesses you like to?
I support any local businesses. I go into every store that we've been doing that, going out the street here, going into every store that we see.
I pretty much shop online unless I'm just like wandering the streets like now, then I'd probably go into some stores, but other than that I would say online.
So I do shop online a fair amount more so than I did 5 years ago. I do shop locally for, just whatever I need for the day. But yes, like online stuff, it's cheaper.
Just the convenience. You have, I guess, more of a variety, and then it's delivered right to you. You can compare like prices and options.
With online shopping being a big competition for small businesses, marketing plays a key role in businesses staying on top of their game. It's been 15 years since the Wooden Spoon opened their doors to the Andersonville neighborhood. The store, which offers kitchen products and culinary classes, is co-owned by Sean and Trina Sheridan, who wanted to offer a welcoming environment for both beginners and experts in the kitchen. They talked to me about the strategies they kept and changed to keep their business running smoothly.
I always go to the houseware shows and find out what the new and current gadgets are and stuff like that, so I keep up with what's current in cookware, in gadgets, in the colors. Like, those companies are all competing too. They want us to keep buying their stuff, so they have to improve their products. Definitely keeping up on bringing new items in and bringing them into our kitchen so that people can use them during classes, really believing in them. I think that helps sell it. We do demos if we don't have a class going on a Saturday or Sunday. We'll put out different gadgets so people can try them. So yeah, I mean, it's work to do that stuff. It's just easier just to sit back and not do it, but you have to. We did like a long time ago, we did a coupon book, and it was really expensive. And we got like maybe 2 people that redeemed the coupon, so that was, wasn't worth our money. And so since then we've done like the birthday club, so that brings people in. So you have a free gift for your birthday. You have to come in and pick it up, obviously. We don't send it to you. And then they get like 10% off that day, and they get 10% off cooking classes if they sign up for a class during their birthday month. So definitely that sells, yeah. And just talking to them, and I cook a lot, so I know what gadgets work. I try to carry only things that do work and that are reasonably priced.
It's impressive to think about the amount of time and effort that goes into making a small business both come to life and stick around to serve its community in the Andersonville neighborhood. Thank you so much for watching this edition of Medill Newsmakers. I'm Jada McClendon, and I'll see you next time.